Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name's Ray, the Market Trader. And before we get started here, we'll need to run through our risk disclosure. So we'll go ahead and do just that. Okay, so go ahead and locate this. All right, switch our screens here. Here we are. Okay, so just kind of remind everyone that the content that's being published is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any future security or company or fund. We all understand that the use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company's partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. Investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital, only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that we've gotten through our risk disclosure, guys, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention over to the news portal here, okay, and see what kind of news we have in store today that could have an impact in the markets. Okay, so we'll move over to that. Okay, so taking a look at the news today, we do have a fair amount of news coming our way. Okay, so we have ADP that has already reported employment changes. Looks like has come in on the positive side. We have U.S. S&P services PMI final coming in at 945. We have again S&P composite PMI coming in at the same time. We have ISM services PMI coming in at 10 a.m. Okay, and then services prices paid as well as services employment all coming in at that 10 a.m. hour. And then we have, for those crude oil traders, we have inventory. This will be interesting given the unrest that we've had in the Middle East, how that has impacted the sort of the supplies of oil. Okay, so that's going to be kind of an interesting report. I don't know if that's going to contain all the potential supply issues. Maybe down the road from that a little bit, but certainly the impression of lack of supply is there. Okay. And just kind of looking at the, we have a vote here at the end with regard to the War Powers vote coming in at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So now that we've gotten a feel for the news, we can then now turn our attention to the trading portal here. Okay. And see what we got going here. All right, so we'll go ahead and open up our trading platform. We're going to go ahead and turn off some of our indicators here that we don't necessarily need. Okay, so we got this. All right, we'll go ahead and collapse this. We'll change this to the standard mini contract. Okay, just kind of taking a look at that. And looking at the daily chart. Okay, so again, looking at the daily chart, we'll go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. Okay, so it looks like we've opened an inside candle here. Okay, so inside the body of the prior relatively bearish candle. Now we were, and it continued to follow this pattern here, right? So we have this what appears to be kind of a little triangle pattern that's forming here in this market. All right. Okay. So a little bit of a consolidation, a little bit of a balance range that's established. Okay. Establishing, I should say. And today's candle is again another indication that we should expect potential range kind of price action here. Okay. So we're inside the body, or pretty much inside the body of the prior candle. indicating that, while it's a relatively large range, right, from end to end here, we're talking 5,000 all the way to a high of 5,400, 400-point range, which is certainly something that can be traded, right? It's still something that is a range, right? We're not booking candle after candle in any sort of particular direction here. Okay, so daily chart is indicating that the market is in some sort of working through some sort of balance. Okay, let's now take a look at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, okay, more of the same here. I'm just going to remove my drawings, remove my initial balance ranges here, and just kind of zoom in on these candles. All right, now in addition to this balancing, you see that price is at the an area where we've generated a good amount of volume. Okay, price wise, right? 5,200 is generated the most volume in the recent past. And that's exactly where price is. Okay, so we're not in any sort of extreme level. We're at a level where we are receiving equal participation on the buy and the sell side in this market. So what to make of this? Well, what we make of this is that the market is in agreement, to at least temporary agreement. Okay, on price. Okay. So again, more indication of some balanced price action. Okay, let's go ahead now and move into the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, you can see there's not a whole lot of difference. We continue to be in some sort of range here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the initial balance ranges across the various markets we care about. We're going to start off with Asia. Asia basically offered us an opportunity here, right? We stayed in a range for most of Asia. We did manage to close above the initial balance range and rallied. Okay, rallied up to the pretty close to 200% extension of the range. So fair number of buyers in Asia. Okay, fair number of buyers in Asia. Taking a look at the initial balance range for London. Taking a look at London here, you can see that we're kind of also hovering right around the edge of the initial balance range. Okay, so we did make a little bit of a pullback down to the VWAP and found some more buyers, and now we're back above the initial balance range for London, I should say. Okay, so we're above the initial balance range for London. We are above VWAP. We are above the 9 EMA. But looking at the volume delta, okay. Looking at the volume delta, you can see that we are seeing, for the most part, equal participation here, okay, on both sides of the market, buys and bears, right? You look at the DMI, you see a lot in the way of overlapping price action. So we're not seeing at the moment super aggressive buyers or sellers in this market, okay? And as a result, we're seeing some price action that would indicate that we are in some sort of range, okay? So we need to, I would say, need maybe some sort of catalyst, some sort of item here that would trigger some sort of move, because right now it seems that we are not quite barcoding, but certainly a market that appears to be in some sort of range here, okay? I'm going to do one last peek here of the fixed range volume profile just to get a sense of where price is in relation to yesterday's range. And I think I know the answer to this question, but we'll go ahead and confirm that. Okay, so we are slightly above, okay, above the range from yesterday, indicating that there is obviously some interest in this market to the buy side, okay, bullish side. So there are some bullish participants in this market, and for now, they're willing to pay a premium to be part of this market to the bullish side. Now, I'm going to go ahead and mark this area here. I'm going to extend this area right about there. So this area here around 51.4850 does appear to be an area of interest. Okay, if I were long, All right, this basically value area high. We've already reacted away from that level once. Okay, and the expectation is that if we come back to that level, that would be supportive as well. Okay, so 51.48 is a level I'm going to be watching if I'm bullish. And then if I look at the upper end of the range here, well, we've already reacted. Let's see, I thought I had a level there. There it is. We have another level here around 52.20. Okay, 52.18. Right, this area right here, at least for now, does appear to be resistant. We did get a little bit of a rejection away from that area. Price has managed to maybe come near it, and then again we see that maybe we've gotten some sellers kind of stepping into this area a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this area as a zone, right, for potential resistance. Okay, so if price cannot get above 52.20, then maybe we rotate our way down to some of these lows, as I mentioned, as low as maybe 51.50. Okay. All right. So looking at this market, I see a market that is in some sort of balance, some sort of range. So I'm going to give it a just because of the fact that sentiment during Asia and London are to the positive side here. We'll give it a neutral to bullish kind of rating here for now. But I'm not super excited with I guess the path or the urgency that traders are having at the moment in this bullish direction. So we'll give it a neutral to bullish kind of rating here, but we'll have to kind of be patient here and wait for further price action to really see which direction they want to take this market. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the silver market. Looking at the silver market, looks like it's very similar to what we just saw in the gold. All right, we'll go ahead and remove some of our drawings. And again, you can see that this candle opened inside the range of yesterday, right? Again, giving us an indication that we could very well remain inside the range for today, right? So we got to a high of 91.66 and a low of 78. Okay, pretty wide range, very obviously quite tradable, right? And now we've opened inside that range. Okay, so kind of indicating to us that maybe there is further range price action that we could see in this market. Price is well within inside the value range of the market here on the daily, and we don't see much in the way of direction as to the direction they want to take this, right? We see a lot of overlapping positive and negative DI on the DMI indicator. We had some volume. We had some volume come in that was to the bullish side. Well, that has translated into a move in price on the bullish side. Now the question is that going to allow us to maybe retest some of the highs from yesterday's range? Well, that's kind of my thinking, at least based on the daily, that possibility does exist. Okay, taking a look at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and collapse some of these indicators here, and just kind of focus in on some price action. I'm going to go ahead and open up the moving averages here and see where we're at. So we're kind of a mixed bag here of moving averages, right? We are above some of them and below some of them. So I would say some of the more important ones that we're below at this point is the 200 EMA. Okay, so price is below the 200 EMA, and that could be an indication of maybe a beginnings of maybe some bearish price action, right? So some of the longer players in this market it appears to be a bit more bearish in this market than say maybe the more recent, right? So this price here around 88.70, okay, is approximately where we have the 200 EMA, okay, on the 4-hour. So that I would expect that area to be somewhat resistant to price. Okay, so we'll go ahead and identify that level as an area to keep an eye on. All right, so that's going to be, I expect that to be a resistance zone of some sort. Okay, we'll go ahead and color that in red here. Okay, all right. So again, DMI probably giving us a little bit of an indication that we are seeing a little bit of buying coming into this market. Volume seems to be aligned with the buying, but we have not yet managed to get our positive DI has not managed to get above our negative. So they're still basically kind of collapsing, which indicate that we are in some sort of consolidation, which is consistent with what we're seeing at the moment here on the 4-hour. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart, again, you can see that price is below some of our moving averages that we care about. We're below the 200, we're below the 100, and we're kind of meandering between the 50, the 20, and the 9 here in the middle of the range here. So question now becomes is, are we going to use this 100 maybe as an area for maybe further price action to the downside? Okay, we're seeing a series of candles here on the 30-minute chart that could indicate, and we are developing somewhat in a way of a bearish candle here. So that could has the potential of leading us maybe potentially lower. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing on the 30-minute. I'm going to take a look here at the fixed range volume profile and see what kind of sentiment here. But it does appear that maybe there's maybe some buyers in the overnight here. But let's double confirm based on our fixed range volume profile and see where we're at. Okay, so yeah, similar to gold, you can see that price is above this value area range from yesterday. Okay, so I would expect that an important area to remain bullish would be this area right here. So I would say that 84 would be a relatively important level to hold in order to maintain any sort of kind of bullish sentiment in this market. If we break into that area, then I would say that we could easily rotate to the other side of value here at 81. Okay. So yeah, so headed into the session, I think I'm going to go with similar view. I feel like it's a market that's a bit neutral. I feel like a market that is inside maybe some potential bearish structure. The only thing that's kind of giving me kind of a pause on the overall bearish is the fact that we are above the value range. We do have a fair amount of buyers into this market. So in order to really embrace the view that maybe the market is headed lower, we need to continue to see, lower lows and lower highs. Okay. So the level that I'm kind of looking at right now to really kind of is going to serve as that, area is this area here right at the, see this pivot area around 84, this around this value area high. Okay. That is probably going to be the area. If we manage to get below that, then the market would, like I said, looks like more of a bearish kind of view. Okay. As long as price remains above, I'm going to keep it maybe a neutral to kind of bullish view here in this market. Okay. Although I'm not overly impressed with how the momentum of the bulls at this point. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the crude oil market. Okay. Now, reminder again today, guys, we do have crude oil inventories today, which I think should be relatively interesting because of all the unrest in the world, and that could impact the supplies of oil. Okay, so it should be interesting to see what kind of report we get out, and more importantly, how does the market react to that? Okay, right now you can see that we have a developing, somewhat neutral, indecisive candle here inside the range. So we got to a high of 78, and now we've opened inside that range. We're opened with close to 75, which is approximately the area that we opened on the news of the attack on Iran. Right? We jumped to 75, and now we're right back at that 74. We opened 74, 77, and now we're trading somewhere in this 74 range. Okay, so daily chart. Okay, again, we have yet to officially fill this gap. Okay, we still have a gap, so indicating that there is a fair amount of interest in this market to the bullish side. Okay, taking a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, the momentum that we've I guess would expect to see to the upside is not is kind of losing a little bit of momentum. Okay, so while we made this jump to the upside, the momentum to the upside has not really followed. Right, we've kind of grinded to the upside, and to some degree, we maybe have developed a little bit of a topping pattern here, right? So you can see, right, this is a little bit of a double top, okay, that we've developed in this market. Now, does that lead us to lower prices? Well, we'll have to see. But right now, on the 4 hour, we are having some issues in getting above the 77.50 level on this market. Okay. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the 30-minute chart, see what we can, at least on the shorter term, and see maybe more actionable for the day here. So we'll go ahead and remove this drawing here, indicating the double top. There it is, the double top, more candles with double top. So you can see that we created a little bit of a resistance zone here up at the highs here around 77. And we do seem to have a little bit of a support area down here around, let's say, 72, 73-ish, in that area, right? We've seen interest in this market right around that level, 73. Okay. So what is the market to do? Well, the market right now seems to be in some sort of range, right? We see a lot in the way of overlapping positive and negative DI. We did get maybe in the midst of maybe developing a little bit of a 3-bar reversal pattern in an area of support. Okay. So is this going to be another leg to the bullish side? Certainly possible, and that would be consistent with the price action that we've seen of late in the crude oil. Okay, let's take a look now at the fixed range volume profile, and let's see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. So we'll go ahead and move and find the start of yesterday, and we'll kind of drag this across to the close. Okay. And you can see that we're hovering right at the lower end of value here, right at the settlement price from yesterday. Okay. So the question now becomes can price get above settlement and can get above value? If it can, then I would say that we have a reasonable chance of rotating back to the highs of the session. Okay. Right. This area right here is this area. Let's see if I can look price here, right around this, 74.60 level. Okay. If price can manage to get above 74.60, that's above our settlement, would probably get above our 9 EMA and maybe offer us an opportunity back to the highs of the day. Okay. Taking a look here at the initial balance ranges for the various sessions here, you can see that looks like London was bearish on the oil. And if I take a look here quickly at Asia, Asia appears to have been bullish. Okay, so again, indicating that there's a fair amount of range kind of price action taking place in this market. Okay, so right now, I think I'm going to go with the same kind of relatively neutral rating here on the crude oil. Okay. I see that we've reached an area where we could potentially see a swing, a bullish swing back to the highs. Okay, I'm seeing a little bit of a 3-bar reversal pattern. Right now, we're still inside some bearish structure up against an area that I would say is relatively important for the bullish participants to hold. This area around 73.30 or so, 73.40. Okay, so we'll have to see how this current candle closes, but I'm going to go with a more neutral rating. Okay, and that means that we'll have to focus in on the extremes of these levels to really participate in either direction in these markets. Okay. All right. Let's pause here for a minute and just kind of run through our kind of marketing here a little bit. So encourage folks again to hit the likes if you're not already a subscriber, to hit the subscribe button, and then also if you would be so kind to leave a comment or two on how this analysis is supporting your analysis and understanding of the markets is always helpful here. Okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and turn our attention over to the equity markets, and we'll start off with the NASDAQ. Okay, we'll start off and remove some of our drawings here And we'll start off with the daily chart. Okay, looking at the daily chart, not really much in the way of direction here at the moment. It seems like the market is seeking additional information and to decide. Now, what I can say is that there is some buying coming in here. Okay, we got buyers. You see the wicks, and you compare that to the candles above, and you can see that there are participants that are at this point are not willing to let go of the fact, right, to let this market necessarily go lower here, right? Every attempt that we've made to go lower has been met with some buying. Okay, so this level here around 24,400, I would say it continues to be a relatively important level for this market. Okay, we do see that price remains above our 200, so that's a good kind of level for some portfolio kind of managers or swing managers that are holding positions for much longer than we are, right? So as long as price remains above our 200, then that's given us maybe an indication that maybe we have participants that might be accumulating here, okay, accumulating positions before they potentially take the market higher. Okay, is kind of what I'm seeing here, right? I'm seeing a lot in the way of wicks on the buy side. Okay, but inside maybe some range or kind of consolidating kind of structure. Okay, moving on to the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart again, maybe a little bit more evidence on the bullish side here. Looks like we have kind of made a low here, made a low, and then we're not able to make a newer low. Okay, so we're seem to have created a little bit of a support area here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and mark that in green. All right, so a little bit of a supportive area that's been developing here. So a little bit of maybe double bottom, maybe a reverse head and shoulders. Maybe we'll look at that once we get to the 30-minute chart. But we can see that there's maybe some support that's being developed here. Okay, we see that price has managed to get inside the value range or this of the visible volume profile. We see that price is kind of making its way above the 9, above the 20, and then we still have the 50 and the 100 and the 200 still above us. Okay, so still I would say inside some maybe bearish structure, but maybe the beginnings of maybe some accumulation that's taking place here in the Nasdaq. All right, taking a look at the 30-minute chart, we're going to go ahead and compare. You see we're right at the edge of this 200 moving average, even exponential moving average, right at the edge of it. We're actually technically above it. Okay, so again, this could be an area where we could see price rotate lower. Okay, based on the location of this 200 EMA. So this is an interesting level. If we are able to hold above, let's say 24,860, that could give us maybe an indication that maybe there's at least a leg to retest some of these highs at 25,100. Okay. Taking a look at the fixed range volume profile here, we're going to go ahead and compare pricing here. So it's the start of Tuesday into the close of Tuesday. And you can see that we are above, right? So we are above value. So indicating that there is maybe some interest to the bullish side in this market. This area here around 24,852 or 24,825, I would expect that would be a logical place to entertain maybe a trade to the bullish side. If we manage to close below this area, well, then we could use that same area maybe for rotation back to the other side of the value range. So interesting area right now. Interesting area in the sense that we can manage our risk. Taking a look here at the initial balance ranges across the various markets here. Taking a look at let's see, Asia was pretty much bearish. Okay, a lot of bearish kind of action taking place, price action in Asia in the Nasdaq. We got to the 200% extension, right? 200% extension of the initial balance range and reversed away. Okay, London opened and also created more bullish kind of participation. So again, two-sided trading, both on the bear side and the bearish side. of late has been more on the bullish side than bears. Okay. So take a look. You can see here, we got a nice little extension of this range to the upside. We came back, didn't quite get to the high of the initial balance and resumed the rally. So I would say that we're going to go with a more range to bullish kind of view. I'm seeing that we are making higher highs and higher lows on the lower time frame. We are seeing that price is getting above the 200 moving average, which could offer us maybe an opportunity for maybe further exploration or price discovery higher. Okay. So that's kind of what I have for you for the NASDAQ. We'll go ahead and move on to the ES here. Taking a look at the ES, we'll start off with the daily chart and see what context we can drive from the markets here. And again, we have an inside candle inside inside value. Okay, inside candle inside the lower end of value. And again, similar to what we were saying about the NASDAQ, right? There appears to be some interest here in keeping the market above 67, let's say 70, 68, 67, 75. Okay. There seems to be some interest in keeping the market above that level. You can see that we have buying wicks every time we made an attempt to move lower. Okay. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart kind of giving us the same kind of indication here. We'll turn off the initial balance range here for a moment. Similar to what we saw in the NASDAQ, we made a lower low, but have not made a lower low since. Okay, if anything, we've actually created a little bit of a support area here. Okay, just going to go ahead and mark that area as supportive right here. Right, this area, this little block of support between 67.40 and 67.80. There's a little block of support that's developed here on the 4-hour chart. And we are starting to see price make its way above some of the moving averages that we care about. Are we above all the moving averages? No, right? We still have the 100 and the 200 above us, but we are starting to get through some of the smaller time frames. We're now above the 9, we're above the 20, and kind of working our way to get to the 50. Okay, so 9 and the 20 are prices above both of those. And we're back inside the value range that's been established here. Okay. So again, similar view here. Looks like we are looking to maybe potentially rotate through value. Okay. Back to maybe retest some of these highs here at 68.20. Okay. On the 4-hour chart. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart on the ES. Again, unlike the NASDAQ, we see that price still remains technically below the 200 moving average, 200 exponential moving average. Okay, so maybe giving us a little bit of a pause here, but we see that the candles that are being developed are still to the bullish side. We see price above our 9, above our 50, above our 100, above our 20, above our VWAP. All indications right now are indicating that maybe there is some more bullish price action that we could expect to see in the markets, in the ES market in particular. You see that we have our positive DI above our negative, and we have an ADX reading that's hovering around 40, okay, indicating that there's still a fair amount of interest in this market to the bull side. And that's also kind of indicative on the volume side, although the volume is a bit on the lower side, but the markets are still technically not open here, okay? So let's take a quick look at the initial balance ranges across the various sessions, and you can see here on London, we had this is a nice little extension retest of the initial balance range that offered us a nice bullish opportunity right at the initial balance high. Okay, here at 68.13, offered us a very nice location to participate to the long side. And then also take a look at the Asia session. Asia session, I believe, was at least initially bearish. Yeah, I was part of this a little bit. Initially bearish, and we found some support here at the 100% extension of the initial balance range before we resumed our march to the upside. Now we seem to be in some sort of bullish structure, okay, here on the end. So we need to look and see, as long as price remains above the 9 and above the 20 moving average, we have to err on the side of the bulls when it comes to the ES here, okay? So I'm going to, again, give it the same kind of rating that I gave the NASDAQ of neutral to bullish on the ES as well. Taking a look at the Dow Okay, looking at the Dow before we look at maybe summarizing our view across all the markets here. We'll turn off our drawings here. Again, we have a candle. We have a candle that opened inside. We did make an attempt to maybe see if there was any interest in driving this price, driving price lower. That has only triggered some buyers to come and step into this market. So we have an inside candle with a relatively long wick here around the what's that 100 moving average. Okay, 100 exponential moving average. Looks like we got a little bit of reaction away from that, and we see that the 200 is still well below where we are in price. Okay, so of late we've been in somewhat of bearish structure. Okay, you can see here that we've kind of staircased our way down. We have not made any significant new highs or broken any new resistance levels in this market. So daily looks a little bit on the bearish side. Okay, 4-hour chart showing maybe a little bit of a difference of opinion on that. We're seeing a little bit, maybe a little bit more in the way of interest to the bullish side. Similar kind of action that we saw in the other equity markets, kind of creating maybe a little bit of a reverse head and shoulder pattern here. Okay, and that could maybe potentially lead us back to maybe some of the highs here around 49,750. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this area as supportive, right? This area as support, and assuming that we can stay above this 48,000, I'm going to call it 340 level, then I don't see any reason why we can't retest some of these highs. Certainly a point of control here at 48,915. And if we get above that, then I can see that we can maybe revisit some of these highs that were left in earlier in the day here. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. We'll make one kind of take a look at the lower time frame. Again, you can see similar kind of view that we saw in the ES. You can see that we're starting to see a little bit of a staircase to the upside. We're at value area high for this visible range volume profile. We're starting to make our way above a lot of our moving average. The only one that's really holding out here is our 200 EMA, and the Dow seems to be a little bit further, I guess, lagging in their progress. While the ES and the NASDAQ were already challenging the 200 EMA, we still have a little bit to go before that takes place here. Now, what I can say is that we are starting to see a little bit of price action that would indicate that the market wants to head higher. But I would say that this level a bit above here, around 48,800, could be an area that could cause price maybe to stall or rotate here. Okay, I'm going to take a look here at the fixed range volume profile. We're going to kind of confirm what I already think I do know, is that a market where we're seeing some buying coming into this market here. So we'll just go ahead and mark that level. There it is, right? You can see that price is above value. Folks are willing to pay a premium to be a part of this market to the bullish side. Okay. So again, I'm gonna give it the similar kind of rating that I gave all the other markets. I think it looks more like a neutral to potentially bullish kind of market. The Dow, okay. I would say that if we're interested in the bullish direction, and that would seem to be the right path at this moment in time, we probably need to wait for price to come to a level where we could participate and better manage our risk, right? Because buying at the highs and having to place our stops below is probably a little bit too much risk that we want to take on in this market. We probably need to see a little bit of a pullback here, and if we are going to continue in that path, then that would be the retracement could offer us an opportunity to take this market to the upside. All right, let's go ahead and kind of do one final pass across all the various markets here. Okay, so I think we gave kind of a neutral rating here on the gold. Seeing some evidence here that maybe the price is having some issue in making a new high here. So we're going to give it I'm going to give it a neutral to bearish kind of rating here on the gold. Okay, I'm seeing some price action that would indicate that maybe the price is having some issue in continuing to progress to the upside. We still are above value, right? So, but we are seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the momentum to the upside. So I'm going to give it a neutral to bearish rating in the gold. Okay, taking a look at the silver market, also neutral to bearish on the silver. Okay, and then crude oil is also probably on the bearish side, although we are coming into an area in the range, okay, neutral, right? It's a neutral range. We'll also give it a neutral to bearish rating, but I do see that this level here around 73.50 could provide a location for price to potentially reverse. Okay, so neutral to bearish on the crude oil, and then across all the equity markets, I'm seeing some price action that would indicate maybe more bullish, right? So we see price above now our 200 EMA. Okay, so that's bullish, of course, and then we see that price is above our value range. So we'll give it a neutral to bullish rating, but again, if we do manage to close back inside value, again, we are potentially in range, right? That could also offer us maybe an opportunity, maybe for a swing to the downside. So we'll give it a neutral rating on the bullish side for the moment here, but yeah, easily could change here since we're up against the 200 moving average, and then we're not getting any sort of acceleration to the upside. If anything, we're seeing a little bit of indecision now that we're up at the 200 moving average. Okay. ES, similar, okay, right up against the 200 moving average, again, creating these little indecisive candles here, which maybe could cause the market to pause here a little bit and maybe rotate back to the downside. We'll have to see. Does price manage to close above our value range? Does it close above our EMA? If so, then that, again, will speak to maybe further bullish price action in this market. Otherwise, obviously, if we don't get acceptance or if we don't get some volume to come in here to the bullish direction, well, that what's going to cause is the market to kind of rotate back and locate some buyers here. Okay, and then last but not least, the Dow seems to be a bit lagging on this view. We still haven't made it up to the 200 moving average here before it started to stall here around the value area high. Again, this area could offer us a location for price to maybe potentially rotate. I will give it more of a neutral to bullish rating for now, since we are above a lot of the moving averages that we care about. But the more important one, the 200, still kind of remains lurking up here around 48,800 in the Dow. Okay, so with that, guys, we'll I think pretty much covers our summary of the markets here. Again, if you have not already subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. If you have not hit a like or given a comment on how this analysis is supporting, feel free to add that on the portal, okay, letting people know on how this analysis is indeed supporting your understanding and view of the markets. And with that, guys, we'll go ahead and close this session, okay, as we close most sessions, and that is trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. You're welcome, Aaron. Have an excellent day trading, guys, and we'll talk again tomorrow.